Hi, I'm Shivangi and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is a space for slow living, intentional motherhood, and finding your rhythm through the seasons of life. I'm 7 months postpartum and lately I've been learning how to release the pressure of a perfect routine and instead lean into a morning rhythm that supports our days and not controls them. In today's video, I'm sharing a quiet morning at home as we ease into the day together, what's been grounding me mentally and emotionally this winter, and how small, intentional moments help set the tone for everything that follows. If you enjoy calm vlogs, honest motherhood reflections, and gentle reminders to slow down, I'd love for you to subscribe and stay a while. Let's start the morning. Every morning, I prioritize self-care. I start with a very quick oral hygiene routine followed by another 2-minute skincare routine that I adopted postpartum. Even if it's just a few small steps, I always feel very refreshed and more awake after this mini routine. We then make our way downstairs to start the day. The living room is in need of a quick tidy just to pick up the things from the night before. So while Taran plays in his pack and play, I get on with the cleaning. I fluff the cushions and do a quick tidy. Moving on to the kitchen, I like to do a quick reset in the morning just to clear countertops and wipe down surfaces so we have a clean start to the day. One of the first things I do in the morning is make a cup of CCF tea. It's a simple blend of cumin, coriander, and fennel, and I've been drinking it for years, but especially now in postpartum. It's really gentle on digestion, helps with bloating, and honestly just feels grounding, especially first thing in the morning when my body is still waking up. In today's tea, I also chose to add a little dash of turmeric and black pepper. There's something about the ritual of boiling the water, letting the spices simmer, and slowing down for a few minutes that anchors me before the day really begins. Mornings with a very enthusiastic baby are busy, loud, and unpredictable in the best way, and this small moment feels like a pause I give myself. It's not about doing everything perfectly, it's just one simple habit that helps me feel steady, nourished, and a little more present as we head into the day. You excited for these? I then like to set up a play area on the living room floor so that Taran can practice his tummy time and roll around as he likes. This lasts us anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, and he is then tired enough for his first nap. We're at the end of January and the weather continues to be dreadful, gray, and absolutely cold. Where I live in Canada is pretty cold this time of year, and the polar vortex that hit most of North America That kind of weather is what we're used to every winter. And with terrible weather comes with seasonal depression, a lack of motivation, and all you want to do is just stay in bed and embrace that deep slumber. However, if you have a baby like me, sleep is long forgotten. I'm nearly 7 months postpartum, and this is a snippet of what my mornings look like these days. I'm currently on my maternity leave for 12 months. I'll be returning back to work in the summer of 2026. And this YouTube channel was created during my maternity leave because I was really craving a creative outlet. I really wanted to capture the small moments of motherhood, share some of the ways that I've been embracing slow living, and also to capture some seasonal rituals. There was a time when routines were everything to me. Prior to becoming a mother, I was that girl who had everything planned for the day, had a set morning routine, evening routine, and I really relied on these to provide structure in my day. But when a little baby comes into your life, forget routines, they just go out the door. And so my approach these days instead is to have a rhythm. Every morning looks different for us, but similar in a sense. In the last couple of weeks, my son Taran has been waking up around 5 a.m. and thankfully my husband takes over at that point and plays with him, gives him a bottle, spends some time with him in the morning. I get to sleep in until 6:30, at which point I then wake up, make the bed, do some quick skincare, and get on with the day. I come downstairs, I do a quick kitchen tidy, put away anything that was left behind from the night before, dust any crumbs off the countertop, and one of the first things I like to do is make a tea. This particular tea recipe has roots in Ayurveda, which is the traditional study of medicinal science coming from India. I'm definitely not well versed in it, and this is just something that I've picked up in recent times. That being said, a lot of these Ayurvedic remedies and recipes have been passed on for generations, from my grandma to my mom, and now to me. There's so many beneficial ingredients that you could probably find in your kitchen cupboard, and they're so great for various reasons. So I make my way through this entire teapot, mug after mug, and that's usually how my morning starts in terms of nutrition. During this window when Taran is napping, I like to spend time with my daily stack, which is my daily planner, my journal for 2026, and sometimes I like to pull an oracle card or two from this Green Witch's Oracle deck. If you're unfamiliar with oracle cards, they're typically used for spiritual guidance, and that's pretty much what I do here. So let's do a quick card pull for the day. As I shuffle through the deck, I like to think about the energy that I wish to channel for today and seek guidance on how I can bring forward my best self. Some days I like to do just one card, some days I'll do 3, but today I think we'll stick to just the one. The illustrations on these cards are so beautiful, and it's all based on gardening, nature, and that's something I really enjoy. Today's card is rosemary, and the words underneath are remembrance, loyalty, and faithfulness. I then like to look at the meaning of the card in the guidance book that comes along. And what's great about this is that it provides an explanation about the meaning of the card, but also has a journal prompt at the bottom, which I then typically use to journal about this morning. So this book explains that rosemary is an aromatic herb closely associated with loyalty, devotion, and remembrance of the dead. The rosemary card tells you to be faithful to what you hold sacred in life. Whether that is your values, beliefs, people, or whatever you feel passionate about, remember these things and honor them. Keep them in your mind when making choices. Don't let the world sway you from your ideals. And today's reflection prompt is, what do you hold to be sacred in your life? After some pondering, I think what's most sacred to me right now is having all of this quality time to spend with my son during maternity leave. I'm really grateful for having 12 months off and being able to be home with him. I'm also really grateful for motherhood. I think it's so sacred, so special, and there was a point in life, I'm not gonna lie, where I wasn't sure if I wanted kids. I wasn't sure if I could have kids due to some health concerns at the time, but it's fantastic to look back now and look at the journey so far and just exude gratitude. Another thing I really hold sacred in this period is to hold presence, is to be present in the moment, whether it's playing with my son. I have absolutely no devices, no TV in the background that's on, not even music. Sometimes I do like to put on like classical instrumental music, or I listen to solfeggio frequencies in the morning, but most days it's just silence and Taran and I playing together on the floor. Another thing that's sacred to me right now is being able to enjoy the little moments, whether that's hearing Taran laugh for the first time, putting him in adorable little outfits and taking photos. My camera roll on my phone is filled with photos of him, and I'm not even slightly ashamed. I think motherhood is what you make of it. If you continue to focus on the sleep deprivation, the anxiety, that feeling of doom and gloom that can hit you when you least expect it, I think what you put into it is what you get out of it, like most things in life. And so having a positive mindset has been so important to me from day one. From the time we got back home from the hospital up until now, nearly 7 months later, I think your mindset has the biggest impact on how you approach anything and everything. I'm not gonna lie, weather definitely has an effect on my mental health. In fact, the last couple of days I felt so uninspired, so unmotivated, and it took a lot out of me just to do everyday simple tasks. I was able to keep up with chores, I was able to make sure the household was functioning, but I was feeling super burnt out, and so I just embraced rest. I took naps along with Taran, and surprisingly, he naps for about 2 hours when we co-sleep, safely of course. But when he naps on his own, like right now, I'm lucky if I get maybe 30 minutes. Some days it's an hour-long nap. But being burnt out because of sleep deprivation, weather changes, mood, all of this created mental fog that just left me uninspired to create. And this creative journey on YouTube, surprisingly, has grown quite important to me. The last few weeks, I was very conscious about creating over consuming. I think we consume so easily, whether that's scrolling mindlessly on social media, watching TV, the books that you read, the news that you're exposed to. There's so much happening in the world right now. So much negativity, so much heartbreak, and it's hard not to let that phase you. So when my world got heavy, I think I felt it was best to just draw in my energy, rest for a while, put creativity on hold. I did consume a little bit in terms of reading, watching only specific social media influencers that I resonate with, consuming content that inspires me. And I think that did the trick. I think that really helped me get out of that mental rut and find that flow again to get creative. And when you're in a funk like that, it also helps to have a rhythm over a routine. Routines are great if you appreciate that structure in life. But if you're a new mom, you will soon realize that it just doesn't happen anymore. My life is now controlled by a tiny little human, and I go by his clock. When he's down for a nap is when I manage to find a few moments to myself, whether to journal down some thoughts, plan for the day ahead, maybe just read the news, or maybe just sit in silence as I sip my tea. Over the last 7 months, the transition from being just me to now being a mom and being responsible for a whole other human has been significant. This term is actually called matresence, where you transition from maidenhood into motherhood. It's a crazy experience. You're going through changes in every single way, whether that's physically, emotionally, mentally. Your hormones are all over the place. Some days I physically don't really recognize myself anymore, but it's all part of the journey, and I'm trying to approach it with gratitude. Taran is up from his nap and he's playing on his bouncer right here, so I apologize for any background noise or commotion. My plan now is to probably make a quick breakfast, maybe have some coffee, and continue playing with this little guy. If I'm lucky, he'll usually go down for another nap, maybe in another hour and a half, 2 hours later. So at that point, I'm hoping to jump onto the treadmill and get my steps in. I like to make use of his wake windows and nap times to sort of plan my day. It doesn't always go to plan, of course, and I'm definitely relying on that and taking a longer nap, although it doesn't always happen. I think I totally jinxed it this morning. But here's what our typical morning rhythm looks like. It's a similar skeleton of activities every day, although it doesn't always happen in the same sequence. Some days he doesn't have the appetite for breakfast, so we just stick to giving him a bottle. And like I said, some days he'll nap for way longer and mom gets to get more work done. But today is not one of those days, and that's totally okay. It's been a couple of hours since my last update, so I thought I would do a quick check-in and update you on what I've gotten up to. It's almost 1 p.m. and my plan now is to jump on the treadmill to get my steps in. Taran is down for the second nap of his day, and I'm hoping this will be longer than the first one. Usually I try to get on the treadmill earlier in the day, but Taran's naps were so brief today, so we're just going with the flow. So I'm going to walk on the treadmill for a bit, and that pretty much concludes my morning rhythm. Like I said, no 2 mornings are the same, and I go with the flow every day depending on Taran's needs. As I close out today's video, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to spend a little part of your day with me. And above all, thank you for choosing slowness in a world that constantly rushes us. I truly believe that gratitude is one of the simplest ways to invite abundance into our lives. And by abundance, I don't just mean more things, I mean more presence, more clarity, more peace. If this video resonated with you, I hope it reminds you that rhythms are allowed to be changed. Rest is productive, and whatever it is that you consider to be sacred in your life deserves to be protected. I'd love it if you could like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't already for more seasonal content. I have lots of exciting plans for February and spring up ahead of us, so if this is something you're interested in, I'd love to have you here. Thank you for joining me here in this season. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.